Hi guys, I know this is the second video I've made for lead class. I'm really not trying to get out of writing an essay. I just really like having that connection, just that one-on-one experience. I think it shows great relationship in leadership. Um, yeah, that rhymed. So today I'm going to talk about Chapter 8. And Chapter 8 talked about the leader-member exchange theory. See, when I thought of leadership exchange theory, I was like, oh, that's an interaction between two people. It's really not just that. It has a lot to do with the relationship between the two people. And so I was like, I looked into the book text where it talks about the different styles, approaches, and theories on leadership. And then also, I'll later go into like the criticism and strength approaches and other approaches like that. However, I wanted to look into other sources rather than just than the book's opinion on what this leader-member exchange theory really meant. So I looked online, and the leader-member exchange theory focuses on the amount of interaction between the leader and its individual leaders. It really talks about a lot of income and outcome skills of leadership upon a dependent and independent, and this really talks about how much they depend on each other and where we exist within each other. And in order to be a good leader, you really got to mentally be there for other people and really make a difference in their lives. And you can't make a difference in someone's life unless you're present. And this is why it's my favorite chapter, because I feel like it connected with me a lot on how, like, what kind of leader I want to approach and I want to be someday. I chose two different strengths. I wouldn't say strengths. I chose two different theory and practices that I saw in the book that I really was able to relate with. The first one was criticism, just because I love criticism, but really this, the leader-member exchange theory, I can just say LMX theory, also sets some limitations. First, on the surface of leader, one of the quotes that it says is, throughout our lives, beginning when we are very young, we are taught to try and get along with everyone. And we try to treat everyone equally. And you'll find this quote on page 170 under Theory and Leadership Practice and Criticism. We have been taught through our wrongs and rights to form groups and cliques because they are harmful to those who cannot be a part of them. And I was like, I grew up never really being a part of a group. And that was really difficult for me because as being a leader, I wanted to be a part of everything. I wanted to be a part of, student government in high school. I wanted to be on the top of everything, but in order to get the top of everything, you gotta work your way up. And it's really downgrading knowing that you're not a part of something. So that's one of the skills I wanna work in as a leader is I wanna be present in people's lives. I want them to know that I'm there for them. And that's basically what this whole LMX theory talks about, is the interactions and relationships you form with the people around you. Another quote that I found very interesting in the text was 171, and I'll talk about that a little bit. It's still under the categories of criticism, and it talks about the LMX theory does not fully explain itself, how high quality leaders and members are created. However, in the early studies, it was implied that we were formed when a leader found certain personality traits and skills, and studies were never described they never described the importance of the factors and how that process worked. Really, to have a good relationship with someone and to really understand the theories of getting involved in people's lives, there is no exact way to do that. And I think that's why it was never determined in the first place and why there was never a conclusion to that is you got to go out there, you got to meet people, and you got to make a difference in their lives. And the only way to do that is interact with them. Because I'm talking too long, I'm going to go ahead on and I'm going to move on to strengths. This was my favorite because this is something I struggle with. It's just trying to focus on the strengths I have with people and relationships. On page 169, chapter 8, strengths talks about the LMX theory makes several positive contributions to your understanding of the leadership process. A very strong description theory, in my opinion. It is unique because It is the only leadership approach that makes this concept of relationship the centerpiece of a relationship process. Right there. That's the key word for this. Relationship process. Relationship process, in my opinion, is just really forming a relationship with someone. That's a lot of reasons. A lot of my friends are followers, and that's how I get them involved. Is I build relationships with them, and I really try to encourage them to really do as much as they can. But before I end this, I want to talk about how the LMX theory works. And so it describes leadership as relationships, but the differences is how goals are accomplished by in-groups and out-groups. Working together, splitting things up, that's criticism. You want to split things up so people get an equal chance to really work on something. If someone just takes over a whole project, you're going to be like, okay, well, maybe I'm a leader too, maybe I want to get involved. And if they're totally taking over that aspect, well, then that really leaves you in the hole of not doing anything. And that's not very good leadership skills. And in-group members are willing to do more than required as a job description. I would consider myself an in-group member just because I like to be involved more. And out-group members act quite differently than in-group members. Basically the opposites, kind of laid back. They're going to let the in-group members kind of take the lead. Those are some key points I found in Chapter 8 that I was able to share with you guys. Sorry it took so long. I really wanted to get all of this out. I think that this chapter has really a lot to do about my own leadership theory. Thank you so much for listening.